All right, order of operations. When we talk about the word operation, we're talking about add, subtract, multiply, and divide. When we're giving a whole bunch of these things to do, we need to be a little careful. The first thing we need to do is take care of everything that's inside the parentheses, meaning we need to get everything in the parentheses or brackets or curly brackets or absolute values all down to a single number. Then we can move on to the next level. The next level would be exponents. The next level is multiply or divide. Now, when we multiply or divide, that's not a direction. Whatever comes first. If multiplying comes first, you do that first from left to right. Or if dividing comes first, if it's more left, then you do that first. The last layer, the lowest of the layers, we're going to do this last, is the adding and subtracting. Again, that's going to be in order from left to right. Let me talk about this left to right thing with an example. My first example is going to be 20 divided by 5 times 4. Now you'll notice in this case, if I look from left to right, I'm dividing first. I have no grouping, no parentheses. I have no exponents to deal with, only multiply and divide. And I'm going to go from left to right. So I'm not going to multiply first. In this case, I'm going to divide first. So 20 divided by 5 is 4 times 4, which is going to give me 16. Notice if I multiplied first, I'd have 20 divided by 20, which is 1, which is a totally different answer, which is incorrect. Let's do another example. I'm going to take negative 40 divided by 2 minus 10. Now, I'm going to notice in this case that I don't have any parentheses, so I have no grouping involved. I have no exponents involved. I do have multiply or divide, which is going to come way before subtraction. So I have negative 40 divided by 2, which is going to be negative 20 minus 10. Now I'm going to start over again. No parentheses, no exponents. In this case, now there's no multiplying or dividing, just subtracting. So negative 20 minus 10 is negative 30. My next example is going to be a little more involved. These are all going to become increasingly more involved. In parentheses, I'm going to have 9 minus 14 squared minus negative 3 times 6. So looking at my order of operations up above, I do have some grouping involved. I notice the minus 14 is in parentheses, and I need to get that down to a single number. 9 minus 14 is going to give me a negative 5 squared. Everything else, I'm going to rewrite minus negative 3 times 6. Notice I'm doing one operation per line. Skipping steps, my students always make mistakes if they try to skip steps, so one step at a time. Next up, I'm going to start again. Inside the parentheses, there's nothing I can do. I have negative 5 in parentheses, nothing I can do inside the parentheses. Negative 3 in parentheses, nothing I can do inside. Same with the 6. I'm done with grouping or parentheses, so now I move on to exponents. I notice I have one exponent, negative 5 squared. I need to be extra careful. Negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. I'm going to rewrite minus negative 3 times 6. Now I'm going to start again. I have nothing to do inside parentheses. I have no more exponents, but I do have multiply or divide. I have negative 3 times negative 6. So I'm going to rewrite everything as 25 minus negative 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Nothing I can do inside the parentheses. No exponents. In this case, I'm going to rewrite 25 minus minus becomes plus 18. And my last operation is 25 plus 18 is going to give me 43. Let's try another example. This one is going to be 10 minus 2, parenthesis, 1 minus 4 cubed, divided by 9. All right, now again I'm going to start at the top, the grouping. I do have a set of parentheses, and there is something to do inside the parentheses. 1 minus 4 gives me the negative 3, so I'm going to rewrite everything. 10 minus 2 with a negative 3 inside, raised to the third power, divided by 9. Now, I know you see the 10 minus 2, and it's very tempting to actually combine those up, but you can't combine those up. Order of operation prevents that. Next up, inside the parentheses, there's nothing more to do. Negative 3 is done. However, it does have an exponent, and that supersedes all the other operations. Negative 3 to the third power is going to give me the negative 27, so I'm going to start rewriting it. 10 minus 2. And in parentheses, I'm going to get a negative 27 divided by 9. Starting again, there's nothing to do inside parentheses or groupings. There's no more exponents. However, I do have multiplying and dividing. I have negative 2 times negative 27, which is going to give me 10 plus 54 divided by 9. Notice I have to multiply from left to right, so I have to multiply before I divide it. Again, the 10 plus 54 is not going to work out. I have to divide first according to order of operations. So I'm going to go 10 plus 6, because 54 divided by 9 is 6, which gives me an ultimate answer of 16. Be extra careful with these steps. For our next example, we're going to involve a fraction, and it's going to get more complicated. All of these are getting more and more complicated as we go. We're going to start out with a negative 3/4 times 8 minus 2. And now we're going to have the bracket parentheses of 7 minus parenthesis negative 3 times negative 6. Close bracket. All right. Now, the negative 3/4, there's nothing I can do there. I guess I could divide to get a decimal, but we're going to try to keep everything nice whole numbers. However, the big brackets is where I'm looking. If I look back at my order of operations, grouping comes first, so I need to look inside the parentheses. Nothing matters except what's inside the parentheses until I get everything inside the parentheses down to a single number. So, I'm going to go ahead and start out and rewrite everything. Negative 3/4 times 8 minus 2. And then inside the parentheses, I have to follow order of operations again. And what I need to do first, inside the parentheses, there's nothing I can do with the negative 3 or the negative 6. There's no exponents inside the parentheses, but there is multiplying. So I'm going to, inside the parentheses, I'm going to go 7 minus. Now, negative 3 times negative 6 gives me 18. So inside my big groups of parentheses, I now have 7 minus 18. Now I'm going to start over again. Inside the parentheses, the big brackets over there, I have one operation left to do. I've got to get that down to a single number. So I'm going to rewrite everything. Negative 3/4 times 8 minus 2. And inside the brackets, 7 minus 18 is going to give me negative 11. Now I'm going to start over again. I have nothing more to do inside the parentheses. The negative 3/4, there's nothing I can do with that. The negative 11, there's nothing I can do with that. So now I'm going to step outside that and look for exponents. There are no exponents. So next up is multiplying in order from left to right. That means I'm going to multiply negative 3/4 times 8. Remember, 8 is 8 over 1. I'm going to notice that the 4 and the 8 actually reduce to a 2. Negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. Be careful with your fractions. I know students often struggle with their fractions, so just be extra careful. That's going to be minus 2 times negative 11. I'm going to write regular parentheses here. You can still write the square brackets, that's okay. Next up, inside the parentheses, there's nothing to do. There are no exponents to mess with. However, I do have multiplying. I have minus 2 times negative 11, which is going to change that to plus 22. Now I have negative 6 plus 22 is going to give me positive 16. Just a couple more examples. This next example is going to be quite a long one. I'm going to have negative 2 to the 5th power minus negative 3 in parentheses times 4 in parentheses, plus 5, bracket, and then another set of parentheses, negative 9 plus 30, close parentheses, divided by 7, and then close it up. All right, this one is a mess. Where do we even start with something like this? Well, again, we're going to start with the grouping or the parentheses. There's nothing I can do with the negative 3 or the 4 that are in parentheses. The negative 2 to the 5th is going to stay the same. However, in the brackets, I'm going to notice I have another set of parentheses in the square brackets. So inside my square brackets, I'm actually going to go negative 9 plus 30 first. Negative 9 plus 30 is 21, divided by 7. Notice I'm doing one operation per line. Take your time with these. Slow means fast with these order of operation problems. Next up, again, inside the parentheses, there's nothing I can do with the negative 3 or 4. However, in the big brackets, I have 21 divided by 7, and that's going to be my next operation. Everything else will be the same. Negative 2 to the 5th minus negative 3 times 4 plus 5. 21 divided by 7 is just times 3. Next up, there's nothing I can do inside any of the parentheses, including the 3 over in the square brackets. Next up are the exponents. So I'm going to take negative 2 to the 5th, and that becomes negative 32. You can multiply that up. That's negative 2. Actually, that's 2 times 2 times 2, 5 times with a negative in front. And I'm going to rewrite everything exactly as it is. Minus negative 3 times 4 plus 5 times 3. Next up, nothing I can do inside the parentheses. There are no more exponents. There is multiply, and the multiply from left to right is going to start out with the negative 3 times the 4. So negative 32 minus negative 3 times 4 is negative 12 plus 5 times 3. And I'll just change square brackets to the parenthesis brackets here. Next up, I have multiplied 5 times 3. I'm also going to change the minus 12 to a plus. So negative 32 plus 12 plus 15. Now, again, I have no more parentheses, no more exponents, no more multiply or divide. So now I'm down to add, subtract, and I'm going to do that from left to right. So negative 32 plus 12 is going to give me a negative 20 plus 15. And lastly, negative 20 plus 15 is a negative 5. Ooh, that was a long one. You may need to review that one. One last example for us. This one's going to be a big, ugly fraction. I'm going to have up top 8 times negative 6 plus 10 minus 7 all over, in parentheses, negative 5 plus 1 squared minus 12 plus 5. Now I'm going to treat the numerator and the denominator as two separate pieces here. In the numerator, I'm going to do one operation. In the denominator, I will do one operation. So next up top, there's nothing I can do inside the parentheses with the 8 or the negative 6. There are no exponents, so up top I'm going to multiply. 8 times negative 6 is negative 48. Plus 10 minus 7. Down below, I do have something to do inside the parentheses. Negative 5 plus 1 is going to give me negative 4 squared minus 12 plus 5. I'm going to start all over again. In the numerator, I have no parentheses. I have no parentheses. I have no exponents. I have no multiply or divide. So I'm going to add, subtract in order from left to right. So negative 48 plus 10 is negative 38 minus 7. Down below, I have nothing to do inside the parentheses. However, I do have an exponent. So negative 4 squared like that is going to give me a positive 16 minus 12 plus 5. Next up, in the top, I have negative 38 minus 7. That's the only thing I can do. That's going to give me a negative 45. Down below, I have nothing to do except add or subtract, so I'm going to do that from left to right. 16 minus 12 is 4, plus 5. This gives me negative 45 over 9, which gives me negative 5. And there's your order of operations.